Hello there, my name is Jay. I'm one of the expert OET teachers at e2language.com. What we're going to do in this lesson is take a close look at listening part C, which is, as far as I'm concerned, the most challenging aspect of the listening test. What we're going to do is just 3 quick questions. I'm going to guide you through them, okay? Okay, so in listening part C, you're going to hear 2 different extracts. That is 2 different audios. One will be a monologue of one person speaking. One will be an interview of 2 people speaking. In each extract, you'll hear a health professional talking about aspects of their work. It's going to be pretty generic stuff, although it will have a medical focus. You'll see 6 multiple choice questions. You'll see 3 answer options, A, B, or C. You need to choose the answer option that best fits according to what you hear. You complete your answers in listening part C as you listen. In today's questions, we're going to hear a lecture by Dr. Perry talking about diverticulitis and its contributing factors. One of the reasons why listening part C is challenging is because you've got 2 things going on. Yes, you've got listening going on, but yes, you've also got reading going on, and you cannot, for the life of you, listen and read at the same time. So you need to make a compromise when you're doing this on test day, which is you need to pay very careful attention to the listening aspect, but you also need to very quickly read the answer options and the question prompts as you go. So you're sort of going back and forth from the audio to your test page to the audio to the test page, etc. Take a look at these questions and have a look at how long some of the question prompts are and the answer options. So you do get time on test day before the audio begins to read through the questions and answer options. In fact, you get 90 seconds to do this, which is plenty of time. But of course, you cannot memorize these questions and answer options. So really what you're doing in that 90 seconds is familiarizing yourself with them. Let's take a closer look here at question number 1. So, question number 1 says, what does Dr. Perry find particularly demanding when dealing with people who have diverticulitis? That's a very long question prompt, and keeping that in your mind is going to be basically impossible. What you need to do is almost cut up that question prompt to find the keywords to keep in your mind. So what does she find particularly demanding? What does she find particularly demanding? That's the critical part that you should be listening for. So let's read the answer options. Does she find treating the infected or inflamed diverticular particularly demanding? Does she find uncovering the source of the condition particularly demanding? Does she find understanding why it's a neglected problem particularly demanding? So this is kind of like the juggling act that you're going to perform on test day, because you're going to read that question, you're going to find the central aspect of the question, you're then going to quickly read the answer options, then you're going to shift your attention to the audio and you're going to be listening for something. What does she find particularly demanding? Let's do it now. You ready? We're just going to do one question and then I'm going to show you the answer. Listen carefully.
Hi everyone, my name's Dr. Perry and I'm here today to talk about some of the often overlooked risk factors associated with diverticulitis. Firstly, let me give you some background about this condition. Diverticular are small, bulging pouches that sometimes form in the lining of the digestive system. These are quite common, especially with age, and they rarely cause any issues other than a little discomfort. It's when these little pouches become inflamed or infected that they begin to wreak havoc on our patients. This is when they can cause agonizing abdominal pain, fever, nausea, and a marked change in one's bowel habits, symptoms impossible to ignore, yet finding the actual cause behind them can prove challenging.
Okay, it's kind of challenging, right? The problem that you're facing is a lot of text and a lot of information in audio form. Let's take a look at the transcript next to the question. This will make it simpler for you. Of course, this won't happen on test day, but this is good preparation. Okay, take a look at the transcript here. And if we look closely, what does she find particularly demanding? Okay, so there's lots of stuff mentioned through here. Nothing mentioned about anything being particularly demanding. Right down here in the final sentence, she says, this is when they can cause agonizing abdominal pain, fever, nausea, and a marked change in one's bowel habits, symptoms impossible to ignore, yet finding the actual cause behind them can prove challenging. So what we have here is what's called a paraphrase of this particularly important aspect of the question prompt. And this is basically how this part of the test works. They're not going to say the exact same words. They're going to use synonyms. So if we read this again, she finds the actual cause behind them can prove challenging. So if we look quickly at the answer options, what does she find particularly demanding? Treating the infected or inflamed diverticula, uncovering the source of the condition, or understanding why it is a neglected problem. Here, the actual cause behind them can prove challenging. The answer there, of course, is B. So, as you can see by now, listening part C requires practice. After you have done practice, you can relax a lot more into it and you'll get better at doing the listening, reading methodology. One of the things we do at E2 Language is teach you methods for all sections of the test, okay, which are really important. Another thing we do is this. This is the OET mini mock test on e2language.com. It gives you exam-like simulation, which is important, but more importantly, it provides you with all of the feedback that you need before test day, whether you've taken the test before or not. You'll actually submit your writing through to one of our expert teachers who will assess it for you and give you lots of rich feedback. And you'll also take a one-on-one speaking mock exam with one of our expert teachers as well. So if you do need to prepare for the OET test, this is probably the best place to start. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at question number 2. When we look at question number 2, we need to simplify this question prompt so that we can listen for something in the audio. That's what we're doing. We're listening for something. So here, the question says, Dr. Perry thinks that diverticulitis and its connection with non-steroidal anti-inflammatories is due to it being overlooked by the medical community, one particular brand of over-the-counter medicine, or patients not being fully informed of side effects. So to simplify the question, I would ask myself, what is the connection between diverticulitis and anti-inflammatories? Let's take a listen and see if you can get this one. Okay, ready?
Now, most patients fit into one of the risk factor categories. These are common health issues such as obesity, aging, smoking, a sedentary lifestyle, and a diet high in animal fats or low in fibre. But one issue that's well known in the medical community often gets overlooked by the public, and that's over-the-counter medication. In particular, my focus today will be on non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Now, I won't mention brand names, as popularity is no measure of its misuse or misunderstood side effects, but I will ask you a question, and that is, how many of the general public do you believe read the information leaflet inside the box?
Okay, how did you go? That's, again, challenging. Let's take a look at the question with the transcript so we can be much surer of our answer. Okay, so Dr. Perry says in the second part there, in particular, my focus today will be on non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. Now, I won't mention brand names as popularity is no measure of its misuse or misunderstood side effects, but I will ask you a question, and that is, how many of the general public do you believe read the information leaflet inside the box? So if we look back at the answer options then, what is the connection between diverticulitis and non-steroidal anti-inflammatories? A, it being overlooked by the medical community. B, one particular brand of over-the-counter medicine. Or C, patients not being fully informed of side effects. Well, she certainly said something about reading the information leaflet inside the box. There's an inference there. The answer must be C. These questions are pretty tough, but this is the level of difficulty that you will actually get in the OET. In fact, our OET questions on e2language.com are written by ex-OET item writers, the people who used to write actual tests, so they're of a very high quality. Let's take a look at number 3. Dr. Perry uses the case of Belinda to reinforce her concern that non-steroidal anti-inflammatory medication should what? Have all potential side effects clearly labeled on the box, not be available without a medical prescription, be avoided for such minor conditions as tennis elbow. Ready? Listen carefully to this one.
A patient of mine, let's call her Belinda, was taking such a medication for her chronic tennis elbow pain. I believe it was this that ultimately led to what she described as excruciating abdominal pain. Belinda doesn't smoke, she keeps very fit, and is young and healthy. There's little chance that she'd consider a simple OTC medication a potential problem. So yet another question I wish to ask you today is, should non-steroidal anti-inflammatories be so readily available, or should they go back to being prescription only?
Okay, now let's compare that transcript to what you just heard to make sure you got the correct answer, and we'll actually see what the answer is. So what's Dr. Perry's concern here? Well, let's take a closer look. You can see in the second part of the transcript there's little chance that she'd, Belinda, consider a simple over-the-counter medication a potential problem. So yet another question I wish to ask you today is, should non-steroidal anti-inflammatories be so readily available, or should they go back to being prescription only? Take a look at the answer options. Which of those match with that part of the transcript? So Dr. Perry's concern there is in fact B, they should not be available without a medical prescription. Okay, so let's take a quick look at all of the correct answers here. So number 1 was B, uncovering the source of the condition. 2, C, patient not being fully informed of side effects. And 3, B, not be available without a medical prescription. So what we learned here was how to simplify the question in your mind so you're listening for something. That's a really critical thing to do on test day, and certainly while you're preparing as well, practicing doing that, okay? Simplifying what the question is so you're listening for something, and then matching what you hear, the answer to the question, to one of those answer options. It's a lot of crazy cognitive stuff going on, but trust me, after preparation and practice, it'll make a lot more sense. By the way, if you need help with your OET writing, one of the things that you can download for free in the description below is our OET Ultimate Writing Guide. It will provide you with all of the information you need so you can get a high score on test day. Cool, hopefully that was a good experience for you. Remember, you can find us at e2language.com, and you can also find us on YouTube under E2OET. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.